You are not lazy. Your brain is just glitched. When you wake up motivated and collapse by noon, something broke. But it was not your character. Your brain runs on a prediction system. It constantly calculates one question. Is this effort worth the reward? If the answer feels uncertain, distant, abstract, your brain quietly shuts down. Before you even decide anything, you call it procrastination. But procrastination is not what is happening. What is happening is reward. Prediction error. Your brain cannot see the finish line and stay motivated at the same time. Therefore, every long-term goal feels flat. Every valuable task feels impossible to start. You already know what matters. Exercise, deep work, building the skill. But knowing changes nothing because your brain does not run on logic. It runs on feedback. The moment the reward feels too far away, your system downgrades the priority, not consciously, automatically. That is why scrolling feels effortless. That is why notifications hijack your attention. They deliver instant, predictable, immediate feedback. Your brain does not care about importance. It cares about proximity. Therefore, the problem is not your willpower. The problem is the distance between effort and proof. You are not failing because you are weak. You are failing because your brain cannot see the return. This is the law of reward proximity. The further the reward, the weaker the signal. The weaker the signal, the harder the start. Your brain treats distant outcomes like they do not exist. Not because they are unimportant, because they are invisible. Therefore, discipline is not a personality trait. Discipline is a design solution. It is the ability to artificially shorten the feedback loop, to make progress visible, immediate, undeniable. You think disciplined people are better at forcing themselves? But they are not. They are better at making their brain believe the effort is paying off right now. They do not rely on distant rewards. They create immediate proof. Tracking streaks, breaking tasks into absurdly small steps, creating a visible done feeling after every session. These are not productivity hacks. These are psychological fixes. They solve the glitch. When you make progress tangible, your brain stops resisting. When you compress the feedback loop, the effort stops feeling heavy. Therefore, the shame cycle ends. Not because you became stronger, because you stopped asking your brain to operate blind. You were never supposed to sustain motivation across invisible progress. No one can. But you kept blaming yourself anyway. You call it lack of consistency. But consistency is not what you're missing. What you're missing is feedback. The moment you stop waiting for the final outcome, the distant transformation, whether the long-term result proves you were worth it, that is when the resistance dissolves. Therefore, the fix is not more discipline. The fix is closer rewards. You do not need to be better at suffering. You need to be better at making progress visible. Break the project into today's micro-task. Track the single rep. Mark the session complete before you stand up. Your brain does not need the entire staircase. It needs the next step. This is why New Year's resolutions collapse by February. This is why you start strong and fade by week 3. You set a goal 6 months away, and your brain treats it like it does not exist. Not because you do not care, because the signal is too weak. Therefore, every morning feels like starting over. Every session feels like it does not count. You are not failing because the goal does not matter. You are failing because your brain cannot see the progress. But the moment you make today's effort undeniable, everything changes. You do not need the transformation to feel real. You need today's work to feel done. Close the loop before you walk away. Write down what you completed. Cross it off physically. Let your brain register. The win, that is the shift. When you compress the reward into the present moment, your brain stops down-regulating. When you stop relying on distant proof, the effort stops feeling pointless. Therefore, discipline is not about becoming someone else. Discipline is about fixing the feedback loop. You already know how to work hard. You just quit when your brain cannot see the return. But you were never supposed to operate that way. Your brain is not broken. It is designed to prioritize immediate feedback over distant outcomes. Designed to resist effort when the reward feels abstract. Designed to protect energy when the signal is unclear. This is not a flaw. This is the system. Therefore, stop trying to override it. Start working with it. Make progress visible today. Compress the loop into something you can see. Touch, mark complete. Let your brain experience the return. Before the session ends, that is when consistency becomes automatic. Not because you forced it, because you finally designed for it. You do not need more willpower, you need better proximity. The moment you stop blaming yourself for the glitch, the inconsistency, whether you are broken, that is when you regain control. Therefore, the fix is not becoming disciplined. The fix is becoming intentional. You already know the work matters. You just cannot sustain it. When the brain sees nothing, close the distance. Shorten the loop. Make today's effort undeniable. Your brain will follow, always.